Good morning, kiddos. So we read chapter 1 of Flying Solo yesterday. We met Rachel, one of the students in the classroom. We talked about how she was not very nice to another classmate, and then she finds out the next morning that that classmate died overnight. And because of this emotional trauma that she has went through of her classmate dying, she has decided to no longer talk. So she is called a selective mute. We're going to read chapter 2 this morning, and we are going to meet Bastian. Remember, I'm reading this book with permission by the publishing company of Sandpiper. 7:05 a.m. Bastian Fauvel. The instant Bastian opened his eyes, he saw Barkley, curled up at the edge of his bed, staring up with eyes the color of gold coins. "Come on, boy," he whispered. Barkley bounced forward and began eagerly licking his face. "Hey, take it easy." Bastian looked down at the puppy, part German Shepherd and part Retriever. Barkley had fur and eyes the same color of golden. "You are going on a big trip today," he told the puppy. "You won't see me for a couple of days, but you'll be okay. Really, you'll do great. Here, go get it." He took a little Nerf football and threw it. This sent the puppy scampering madly across the room. Barkley grabbed the football and brought it back to Bastian. "Come on, Bastian," Mom yelled. "You don't want to be late for your last day of school, do you?" "Good boy," Bastian said, taking the football. He got out of bed. Last day of school. He repeated it over and over. By now, moving was no big deal. He had moved before, and he'd move again. For Air Force brats, that's how it would always be. 12 years old, and this would be his 8th time moving. He could rattle off the 8 different bases for anyone who cared to listen. Kadena Air Force Base in Okinawa, Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada, Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, Luke Air Force Base in Arizona, Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in North Carolina, and Shaw Air Force Base in South Carolina. He's moved a lot. And so I imagine that he has to just pick up his life and move to someplace new that he doesn't know and meet new friends. And I'm imagining that that's pretty hard for him. And think about it, these kids are about your age, and so imagine what it would be like for you if you just had to pick up everything and move. 8 times he's had to move, and he's only 12 years old. That's a lot. So be thinking about what type of character Bastian might be if he's having to move that many times. He couldn't remember Okinawa. He'd been just a baby then, but he could remember all the other places. Every military base or town, every cramped apartment and officers' barracks, the PXs and commissaries, and all his best friends. Chad, Drew, Troy, Connor, John. Their pictures were taped into his scrapbook. Now his father was being transferred to Hickam Air Force Base in Honolulu, Hawaii. Bastian didn't mind that. Hawaii was a place he'd always wanted to see. Moving again would be a cinch if it wasn't for Barkley and the quarantine. When Dad first explained about the quarantine, Bastian couldn't believe it. The military authorities wanted to prevent contagious germs from contaminating Hawaiian animals. They were worried that any animal coming into Hawaii might have a disease, and it could give it to other animals. That's why they had the quarantine. They had strict rules. Any dog coming into Hawaii had to be quarantined, kept away by itself until they were sure the dog didn't have any contagious disease. Barkley would be quarantined for 4 months. Now imagine, like back at the beginning of the chapter, Like Bastion, he seemed to really love his dog. The dog slept in the same bed with him down at the foot of the bed. He threw the ball to him. He talked to him. And imagine not having your pet for 4 months. That would be hard for me because my dog Belle, she's like my child. I love Belle. And not having her for 4 months, I would be sad. That's crazy. Barkley doesn't have any disease, he told his dad. I know, but the military makes the rules, and we have to follow them. They can't take any chances. There's no exceptions. Well, that's the silliest rule I've ever heard. I know it will be hard for you, Dad said, but it's going to be even harder on Barkley. Do you really want to put a puppy through all that? It's something to think about, Bastion. I know you love him. Sorry, guys. I'm going to put my phone on silent because I'm getting text message from my husband. Do you really want to put a puppy through all that? It's something to think about, Bastion. I know you love him, but maybe you should consider leaving Barkley here. Leave him here? Are you kidding? I'm sure we could find a family who could take care of him. No way! I want my dog. All right, then. Can I visit him when he's quarantined? And so Mom and Dad are trying to talk him into giving him away to somebody else. And I picture him in like a frantic state because he loves his dog. No way! I don't want to give up my dog. He's coming with me. Yes, but I'm warning you. It's still going to be hard. In the kitchen, his mother was standing on a stepladder taking plates from a cabinet. There were boxes everywhere. Got anything to eat, Ma? There's cereal, she said. Shredded wheat. Shredded wheat, he groaned. Why don't they just call it shredded newspaper? Because that's how it tastes. This isn't a restaurant, she retorted, and I can't stop to fix you anything else because I've got to pack this kitchen. Whistling, Dad walked into the kitchen. He was wearing a crisply ironed uniform, hair neatly combed and gleaming. Is your room all packed? He asked. No. You need to do that first thing after school, he said. We've got to be completely packed tonight. We're leaving tomorrow morning at 30:00. Okay. Bastion poured a bowl of shredded wheat. Barkley sat on the floor watching Bastion shovel the cereal into his mouth. The Nerf football was resting between the puppy's paws. What time does Barkley's flight leave tonight? He asked Dad. 6 o'clock sharp, he said. I'm coming to the airport, Bastion said, picking Barkley up. You'll get to Hawaii first, you lucky dog. At the airport, they would give Barkley a shot to make him sleep for the long flight in Hawaii. Bastion pictured the puppy scared and alone on the plane. Then the quarantine. 4 months. 122 days of solitary confinement in a cage. Or maybe there would be other dogs. He didn't know. I'm going to visit you every day, Bastion promised, and twice on Saturdays, okay? Barkley looked up hopefully, and the phone rang. Yo, Bastion! It was John Leclerc, his best friend at school. Hey, what's up? Not much, John said. I am staying home today with a very bad stomach ache. I was thinking you might have one too. Do you? I can't, Bastion said, grinning. It's my last day. I thought your last day was Monday. Dad changed his mind. We're leaving tomorrow. I gotta pack my stuff right after school. Okay, it's your funeral, John said. Just don't blame me if you die of boredom today. Yeah. Hey, I guess I won't see you before you move. Have a nice life. Bastion threw Barkley the Nerf ball, and the dog caught it in his mouth. The puppy looked up, eyes full of golden light and trust. Yeah, you too. And that's the end of the chapter about Bastion. So we learned that Bastion is a Air Force child, meaning that he moves a lot, meaning that he has to make new friends a lot. He's moved 8 different times in 12 years. That's a lot for a 12-year-old. We learned that he loves his dog. His dog has to stay in quarantine for the next 4 months as they're traveling. And so he's kind of bummed about that because his dog is pretty much one of his best friends. So I've added that to our character chart about Bastian. His dad is in the Air Force. He moves a lot. He loves his dog. I want you to think about what type of character Bastian is. Think about how he has to move a lot, how he has to make new friends a lot, how he has to leave his friends all the time. And so what does that show about Bastian? What type of character is he? And so in the comments of the video on Google Classroom, I want you guys to comment and tell me what type of character you think Bastian is and why. Okay, and tomorrow, or not tomorrow, we have Friday off because we were originally supposed to be off from school Friday, so we'll read the 3rd chapter on Monday. See you guys then. Bye.